This week's bonus podcast is a recording of the REVB Mastermind that happens every single Monday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. This week, we are digging in with Ken Pozek, talking all about YouTube Live, but how he has built a media machine in his local market of Orlando, Florida. Tune in and let me know what you think. What's up, guys? Happy Monday. Welcome to the REVB Marketing Mastermind. I'm excited this week. We've got Ken Pozek in the house. What's going on, Ken?
What's going on? What up? What up?
Kevin thought today would be a really good day to talk about door knocking and his team's strategy around that. And if we
Exactly.
have enough time, maybe Fizbo as well. So,
That's what you guys showed up for, right?
no, I think one of the things that we had talked about, specifically with you, Ken, was kind of talking about YouTube Live. So I'd love for you to
hmm
talk, like kind of the beginning of you going live regularly and then what that's kind of morphed into now.
Tim
Sure.
Macy has arrived, ladies and gentlemen. Tim Macy has arrived.
Oh, look at this guy. Thanks for joining us, Tim.
Yeah. Sorry. Just snowed in over here.
All right. Well,
Or they have
now
nothing else
we
to
can
do,
get
so they
started.
should actually be here. Yeah.
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 Fair.
Yeah, it was gosh, I think it was 3 years ago. Let's see, I'm gonna pull it up right now. It was 5 years ago. Holy crap, I've been doing a lot of lives. Can I share my screen? I'll show you guys. That's helpful. Send my request. There we go. It's been sent. Yeah,
Should be
okay,
good
cool.
to go.
So my first one was like 5 years ago. And if you log on, you can go check out my channel, and just like it was literally just me sitting in front of a mic like this. And I didn't know that anybody would show up. I was just like, I think there's a live function on Facebook or on YouTube. I should try this. And so you could see it was like the state of Orlando real estate. It got 15,000 views, my first stream ever. And I think at the time I had 8,000 subs. So give you an idea. And then I was like, let's try it again. And I just talked about same spot, just a microphone, nothing fancy, not really sharing anything.
I don't see you share.
Oh, you
Not
don't see my screen?
sharing. You're not
I am
sharing right
sharing.
now.
Oh, why aren't you
You're
guys?
not.
You're
No,
not.
I'm not.
There we go. Can you see it
Now,
now?
yeah, yeah.
Ah, there we
Oh,
go.
look at
Thank you.
that.
I know you are, but
Yeah.
what am I?
There you go. This video thing, we'll get it one day. So anyways, so that's my first live stream. You can see it, it's playing there in the top left, just me in front of a mic, just talking about the real estate market. And I hit live, and crazy thing is people showed up and were chatting with me. I'm like, oh my God, that's wild. And then they got 15,000 for the first one. And then started going live, just talking about news. You can see my thumbnail game was not awesome. Just kind of going through, talking about everything going on in Orlando. This kind of became what eventually became our media company, which was the Orlando Reel. But I just wanted to talk about what was going on in Orlando that I could bring back around to people that might care if they were looking to buy or sell or just lived in Orlando. This idea of how do I stay involved with people's lives if they are not ready to buy or sell, but I want to be their real estate guy. And so we talked about a little bit of everything. And so even today, I go live at least 3 to 4 times a week. And it's my favorite thing I get to do. I just pull in news stories. I get 1 to 200 people, depending on the night, show up live, and then 3 to 10,000 views usually afterwards. And when we take that entire strategy, chop that into our short form, which goes up on Instagram and TikTok, which then gets us another 4 or 5 million views a month.
So,
Four to
Ken,
5 million views.
one thing that I love about what you're saying is that we make this content, and we always say that we want the content to lead to conversations. Because if the content isn't leading to conversations, then what are we doing? And what I love about lives is, although you only may get 3 people to show up to your first live, it is the most conversational medium. Like, it is the most conversational form of content because you just get to answer people's questions in real time. And so how's that played out for you as far as like when you put a YouTube video out and it gets 10,000 views and however many comments compared to a live where you actually get to talk to people? How's that helped business wise?
Yeah, I think you just get to go deeper in relationship with people. You get to see who your super fans are. Like if you put a video on YouTube, it pops up. Maybe they comment, maybe they don't. But like on a live, they're encouraged to talk with you throughout the entire thing. So I get to see who our super users are. Also, this great thing about lives that I love is I'll start it off and I'll say, hey, by the way, let me know where you guys watching from and what are you excited about to talk about tonight? And they'll comment down below, hey, Ken, you haven't done a video on X, Y, and Z neighborhood in a really long time. And I'll literally write that down. They're helping me come up with what I need to shoot next a lot of times, whether it's their questions or just kind of like, their back and forths. But I have noticed that many times that those people end up coming back around to use us, and they'll come to our community events and say, oh, I'm Steven1879 from Massachusetts. I've been on all of your lives. I'm like, oh my God, that's amazing. And then they're here buying something. So it's a great way to nurture people week after week after week after week once they get into your ecosystem without too big of a lift.
And then you said you chop it up into short form. I know that's a thing, right? But I
Mhm.
think that's also a thing that a lot of us have trouble figuring out how to do well.
Mhm.
What have you guys implemented to make sure that you're taking good pieces from the long form that make good short form content?
So afterwards, I time block that I'll spend 30 minutes on what I call show notes. I call it that because the other people call that. Anyways, that was a dumb thing to say. Anyways, I put out chapters and I go through and I say, okay, I walk back through with trying to think of what it is. I've got it at the top of my screen here. vidIQ, and they allow you to do chapters really, really easy. And so you can fly through, and I'll just kind of like put all the notes of all of what I need to say. It works really well for people that want to rewatch that live back, by the way, because many times they don't want to watch a 45, 50, 60-minute live. So they'll go through the chapters and watch the news stories that I talked about. Those are also the show notes that my editor uses to figure out where he needs to grab shorts from. And so I'll have 8 to 15 chapters and then little notes behind them that he can kind of use that as a template to then kick off. And so his goal is to take every live that I do and get at least 7 to 9 shorts. And then if it's, if they're better stuff in there, even more.
Let's talk a little bit about how you actually talk because I see it in how it's cut up. So, like, I know you're thinking about how you're speaking before you actually speak.
Yeah. Um, it sort of naturally came about this way, but I started doing it because I wanted the shorts to be better. So I go live with the intention of this is going to turn into short form content. So we'll be bantering. I'll talk, be back talking like, oh, Mississippi 894 asks, what's going on in the Winter Garden area because of X, Y, and Z. I'm like, that's a great thing, actually, because there's a news story, and then I'll look up here and I'll just read the title of the news story that's next. Horizon West developer plans 2,000 home developments that's going to change the way that people interact with Disney or something like that, right? I try to take the title of whatever news I'm talking about as knowing that will be the first part, that'll be the hook of the reel. And it helps my editor out a ton. And obviously it helps with conversion and views on the other side as well.
Yeah, I think that's where people miss too, is because our long form content, like me, I just yap too much. I'm going too deep into a thought, doesn't make for good short form. But when you are in your lives and you're kind of thinking with short form in mind, I also think it probably helps out with the live, right? I mean, because every time you're doing a live, you'll have people clicking in and clicking out, and you almost have to rehook your audience mid video. Is that kind of stuff you work on?
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about on the lives rehooking my people.
Yeah, well, I know, when we talk about TikTok lives, because TikTok lives happen in the feed a lot more, right? So you have somebody
Mhm.
clicking in, and you kind of always have to be re-engaging the people watching, because some people are just hopping in. So you have to like re-engage people as they come
Sure.
on.
Yeah, I mean, it's like yeah, for sure. So people will say, "Hey, what's going?" Like many times, the topic or the title of the video is going to be the hot topic of the week. The one that I know ultimately will end up being the biggest, best reel happening because it's the biggest news story of the week. And so they'll say, "Oh, what did Ken say about the Orlando Magic?" Or "What did Ken say about that development?" And then people will typically chastise that person, like, go back to the beginning of the video. Like, he already talked about that. So I also think about it almost as kind of like a call-in show. You remember, like, I'm
Yeah.
old, so I grew up listening to AM and FM radio. And so, you think about like the drive time sports people, and they're talking about news of the week or news of the sports team locally, or maybe it's NPR and they're talking about the national news going on. And there's some people that are calling in and they're grabbing little clips of like when people are calling in. It's the same thing. Right. And so it's hard to re-engage a radio show per se when you're going live. And yet, like, I use those as great clips in the comments.
Love it. Love it. Uh, Go ahead, Katie.
No, I was just going to say a couple questions in the chat. One is community events. So let's talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. So we're doing last year we did 3. We're trying to do 1 a quarter this year. So it's typically a brewery event. We're doing stuff at a park. We're doing Easter events and then something around the holidays. And so we're trying to split up Orlando into 4 and have one in each quadrant, depending because we've got clients all over. Last year we served 114 zip codes, so it's kind of hard to have one central location. But we'll underwrite it, and it's $2,000 to $5,000, and we'll have another partner usually come in to match that. We'll have on the low end 250, on the high end 500 people show up live in person, IRL. And I remember, I can't remember who said this, but I thought it was really smart. So I've stole it. It's like if you have like a huge online following, like there's people who they know on TikTok that have millions and millions of followers, and you see some of those people will do pop-ups to like give away free merch and nobody shows up. I think the power of what we do is depicted on, can I take this offline and does it resonate? So the fact that we do these pop-up events or these events 4 times a year and like hundreds and hundreds of people show up, I think is resonating and means that we're onto something.
Love it. Katie from the coffee shop, did you have something? I didn't want to, I don't want to step on toes here.
No, I was just gonna talk about some of the questions in the chat about how many followers. I think you have to have a certain amount of followers to be able to go live, right? Or subscribers
Dude, I don't know.
on
That's a great
YouTube.
question.
I'll Google it.
Yeah.
How often are you using services like vidIQ and TubeBuddy, and kind of where would you rank them in importance for people that are thinking about using a service like that?
I think it's listen, the free analytics that Google/YouTube gives you is plenty to get started. I don't think you should really obsess with too much more than that. I think the going live piece, the chapter tool alone for me is worth the cost. But I think right early on, it's just like put the videos out, learn from the content and the analytics that YouTube gives you for free, and then reverse engineer that. And I can show some of our analytics if it's helpful.
Yeah.
It's 50 subscribers, by the way. That's it.
So you'd say that those services are great, but probably not necessary to get started. They're probably stuff you want to bring on as you're building to improve your process.
That's right. Yeah. It's like 1% growth every week. Like that's what I'm looking for is what's one thing I can learn from last week's video that can help me improve this week's video. And you do that 50 times a year and you're going to look up and your channel is going to be significantly better than it was a year ago. And I think that that's where a lot of people get caught up. They're trying to learn everything all at once and get, I'm not going to get started on a video until I get everything figured out. Well, it's just not going to happen.
What, we have some analytics questions. What are the main things you're looking for on analytics when you're looking to see if a video did well or didn't do well, or if your channel's doing well or not doing well? What are the main numbers you're usually looking at?
Average view duration and click-through rate are my big ones. So I'll show you guys this one. We impressed ourselves on our team. So this is 2 days ago. We posted a video. It was I got it over here. It's moving to Orlando. Let's see. Moving to Orlando for Disney. Here's where people buy. We got 12,000 views in 2 days. And the analytics were actually
all 10.
Yeah, I was just binging it.
It's like
just had it on repeat. And so you can come through here. And again, this is all free for analytics in the advanced mode on YouTube. And you can break it down by traffic source. You can break it down by geography. You can break it down by a lot of different ways, which is cool. But for us, I'm looking at, so this is a 12-minute long video. And on average, people are watching almost 50% of it. That's huge.
Crazy.
Crushes it, right? And because of that, you could see YouTube suggesting the video to other people. It's showing up in their feed in other places. And this purple bar, I'm like, okay, because our average view duration is crushing, YouTube saying, I want to push it out to more people. Now you can see like not a lot of people were searching it. Only 283 people came from YouTube search. Suggested videos, this is like typically either our subscribers or people similar. It'll be popped up in their feed. If you like this video, watch this video. That's only 1,000. 10,000 views came from people were browsing for something else and it showed up in their feed somewhere else. That's awesome. It's like really, really good. You can see at the bottom, YouTube advertising, people ask all this time. They don't like believe us that we don't spend like $0, zero spend on our videos. We don't believe in that.
So what happens with a video like that? I mean, you guys are giving me a hard time, but I'm the good example. Is that video pops up in my feed and I can't help but click on it. Because when you look at that when you look at that thumbnail, and I don't know, Ken, if you guys timed this purposefully, but we're all getting ready for a snowstorm up here. I'm literally staring out at a blizzard, and here on my phone pops up, live near Disney. I'm like, heck yeah, I would live near Disney right now. Of course, I'm going to click that video. And so, what the reason why browse, we talk about browse over search so much. The reason why browse is so powerful is because the algorithm does all the work for you and puts your video in front of the people that want to watch it. So, Ken, I know you probably have some videos that pop and do well on search as well. Like, what's your take on browse versus search?
I mean, I look at it, all my titles and my videos start with search in mind because I do want to be a broad enough interest base. Like we were doing one, we've got a second channel we spun up a few months ago just to have my agents have an outlet on topics that I don't really cover on my main channel. And they were diving really deep into this very, very small area. And I'm like, nobody's searching for that. It's going to be hard for there to be any kind of like initial reaction from YouTube to say if this video is good or not. So we put out this video and then all of a sudden like nobody's watching it because nobody searches it. There is no watch time to start with, then it's going to be hard for that video to succeed. So instead of calling it Corinne Drive or, Altamont's like a city that nobody searches ever. Like, let's talk about Orlando's hidden areas or like trendy areas of Orlando, or like we can play with the topic enough to where I know there's going to be enough search traffic to sort of kick it off. And then the browse and suggested sort of takes over from there.
I love it. So if you are making a video about some place that nobody is searching for, make sure you kind of optimize the thumbnail and title for a little bit of search to give you some juice.
And then speaking of, people always ask like, what's a good click-through rate? So typically I'm trying to push for 5 to 6. Usually it's like 8 to 9 within the first day, and then it drops off based on, because those first 24 hours are typically the people that are subscribed to your channel or that know you already one way or the other. They see a new video, they click on it. From there, it starts to get pushed out to suggested videos and browse, and like less and less people know who you are. And so you could see here it says impressions 176,000, only 4.8% clicked on that. That's about in the ballpark. If I have a video that starts to see a little bit of a breakout, and this video will probably be 20, 30,000 after 1 week, my guess is that my click-through rate will drop to 4. And I'm okay with that because it's getting pushed out to so many people. I would rather, get 1 million impressions and 4% click-through than 10,000 impressions and a 20% click-through, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So I hope everybody caught that. When you first put your video out, if you have a good audience, your click-through rate may start higher because it's going to your audience. But then once it starts to get out past your audience, you'll see that click-through rate go down. So if you see your views going up and your click-through rate going down, that's normal, not a bad thing.
Yeah.
Katie, what you got?
I was just going to go back to the live as far as like day and time. I know that you do your, well, now you go 3 to 4 times a week, but like when you first started out, like, did you just pick a day that worked best for you? Did you do research around that? What about look like?
Yeah, I mean, I started, the first one I did was on a Saturday, and I did Saturdays for the first like 18 months. And I by far had the most amount of people watching during that time. Partly it was like just after COVID as well. So like people were home. But it takes me, I was prepping for 90 minutes, then I would go live for an hour, then I would do show notes, and I'm like half my Saturday more was gone. And so I pivoted to Thursday night, and I've just been doing it for Thursday night for the past 4 years because just fits into my schedule more. I mean, only having a few hundred people watch anyways. So the replay is really where it's at.
It's a humble brag, by the way.
No, it's not. I'm just saying, like, the great majority of people watch it afterwards. So as long as I have some engagement, I'm good. It doesn't have to be 300-400 people.
Well, and then what are you using as far as software to first start out? Like, what would you recommend if I like get started YouTube and I'm like, all right, I'm going to go live. I've committed to doing it for 52 weeks for the next year. What should I use?
Yeah, I mean, I use StreamYard. So it's, I don't know if anybody, let's see.
Yeah.
Let's see if they can let me get in here.
Yep.
All right. So this is what it looks like when you go live. I can add in here at the top. I can add in a destination and say I want to go live on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, X, Now it does Instagram. And so this is the other thing is like if you don't have a lot of subscribers on YouTube, it's okay. Like all you need to do is flop over to add in LinkedIn. Most of you have so many people on Facebook, LinkedIn, and you can go live in those places. And so it'll aggregate all of these people into one place, which allows you to get just more interaction, which I think is great. And so you go live once in StreamYard, it pushes it everywhere. And then it does save into StreamYard as well. And then I send that link off to my editor in order to download it and then cut it up.
So
Awesome.
go ahead, Katie.
I was just going down the questions on the TV, watching on TV. Are you seeing a uptick in TV watchers?
Yeah. Yeah, no, we are. I was actually, I don't know the numbers off the top of my head, but I was like shocked to see how many people are watching. And the number one place that people tag me on their stories on Instagram, it's them watching me on a TV.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that blows my mind. And then yet I come home from work often and my daughters are watching some YouTuber on TV. And I'm like, oh, well, I guess makes sense.
So the other piece that I like is you can post the comments, right, from the people that are commenting. So it's like they get to call in and you get to post them up with StreamYard. Are you going live on multiple platforms or just YouTube?
Yeah, I'm going live everywhere right now. I mean, it's LinkedIn, Facebook, X. I haven't done Instagram and TikTok yet. Our new studio that we're building out right now is going to have it to where we can do vertical as well.
Nice. Another thing that's come up is, and this comes up all the time, not just in the comment sections, but a lot of our agents that are starting out see other agents with YouTube channels already. So, you know, Ruby's like, hey, there's already people with YouTube channels in my market. And then other people that have channels are seeing all these other agents starting to make channels. What's your view on how you look at like competition in your market when it comes to YouTube and content?
I mean, selfishly, I'd love for there to be less competition, right? And I would say that like there's going to be people that are attracted to somebody that has a different background than I, like whether it's race, religion, they're married, they're young, they're old, they're live in this area of town, that area of town, they have a different specialty than me. I mean, you are your unique product. And so at the end of the day, people are going to be attracted to one person over the other for some reason. And it could be one little thing that you say compared to someone else. And because of that, they'll reach out to them. And so I still think we're really like, maybe not infancy of YouTube, but like we're still early. I mean, the amount of things I watch on YouTube now are wild. Like YouTube TV has taken the place of pretty much every other thing for us. We watch NFL games on YouTube. We watch all types of stuff. And so I still think, you know, even if there are some dominant people in your area, it's still an opportunity for you.
Love it. Yeah, I think that most people won't stick with it either. And so even if you have somebody that pops up that's doing something interesting, it's like, cool, like run your race and know that, you know, you'll win in the long run as long as
That's
you
right.
stay consistent with it. Where do you like to give a CTA? Talk to me about your view on CTAs and how you get people to actually start conversations with you from your videos.
So we put them in a few different places. I'll show you this over here on our, oops, sorry. Trying to make it easy to see visually instead of me just yapping. All right, so we do it midway through. I'll have like a hey, don't forget to subscribe, or hey, by the way. But here's one thing that you guys should all take away is if you notice here, you're scrolling through, you can see moving to Orlando for Disney, where people buy. You can see the first 100 or so, maybe 200 characters, and this is on desktop. So on mobile, it's even worse. But most people are never clicking more to see. Ready to make a move? We'd love to help. Click on pozek.com/YouTube or email info@pozekgroup.com. They're just not like they're not getting there. They're scrolling through to see first and foremost, what the heck are other people saying about this video? Does Ken know what he's talking about? Right. And so you can I comment on all of our own videos. This hack right here has been like, we saw a lull in leads and then I started adding this in and popped right back up once YouTube changed this format. And so thinking of buying or selling in Greater Orlando, visit pozek.com/YouTube or email to get started. And then you pin that post. And so it'll be the first comment that everybody sees.
Can you click pozek.com/YouTube just so we could see the squeeze page?
Oh, sure.
Nice. First, last, details.
And it's all required.
That's it.
Yeah.
But
That's
like
it.
super simple,
But
super
super
simple. Not
simple.
like
Yeah, no, I want to make it as easy as possible.
Yeah.
And so
What's
now
the
the new one, oh sorry, go ahead.
what's scroll down? What's the Orlando real estate hub? That sounds interesting.
Oh yeah, we launched Pozek.com finally. So everything used to be
Nice.
on Orlando Real, and now it's sitting like anything real estate related is sitting on Pozek.com.
I tried to get Macy's.com, but some other company has it.
So weird, right?
Yeah, it's a tough one. So,
They'll go out of business eventually.
well, yeah, they're on their way, I think.
hopefully, hopefully before this one does.
As long as I as long as I keep my parade. I just want my parade every year. All right, back to it. Listen, I think there's a lot of reasons why you are crushing it. I mean, you've been able to build a good YouTube channel when you moved to the market. You built this thing into Instagram page and all this other stuff. But I love the nuance of what you do, and that's like what you represent when you make these videos. And so, you know, we all follow your stuff, and I think we want to replicate it in our own ways and everything else. But I think one of the things that some people miss is that you have the number one team in your market, right? Are you guys number one by a decent amount?
I would say so.
Okay, but the piece that stands out is like every year I feel like you do your awards list. And you're like, we're the number one team in the market. We did this. We sold a bunch of houses. But overwhelmingly, if you sold not the same amount of houses and you were the number three team in your market, the piece that nobody could take away from you is you're the number one team for your market. And your content is for your market. It is not for you. Like you've said that you have the mission to help Orlando become the next great American city. And that shows through everything that you do. And I think a lot of us were like, I need to make content so I could get business. I need to make content so people will call me to buy a house. And we're not thinking enough about, okay, how am I using my content to lift up my market? How am I using my content to make a positive impact on my market? And I think that's the thing that speaks to people without people realizing it. And how does that play out like in your story and your process?
I mean, I didn't start there, right? I think like you have this altruistic thing eventually because you hit a point where you look around and you have incredible people on your team and you want them to stay. You have people in your community that are moving away and you're like, oh, like what's going on? So I was like, what if I need something bigger here? And I don't remember where I heard this from, but it was like, if I can make my world big enough to where everybody inside it gets what they want, then they're never going to leave and we'll grow something worthwhile. And so to me, it became not just how to create some more leads, how to sell more, although that's all happening. But if we had this overarching why as a team, then it could be something that we can recruit to and we can easily get more leads through and actually have a real impact on our area. And so I would say maybe 2 years ago, I got clarity around who I wanted to be and what I wanted to do inside of real estate. And it came into that, like, let me be the biggest fanboy for Orlando and show off not just theme parks and that sort of thing, but all the small businesses and all the schools and all the other kind of things that we have here that really, to be frank, so many other cities have. Maybe you don't have Disney World, but like you have that thing to be proud of that you want more and more people to know of, whether it's who's hiring, the accolades from the local university. There's so many things that you can be taught to be really proud of. And I think that that's what people are looking for. Like that's why this localized content resonates with people because they already live there and they're like, well, I love it here, but does everybody? Or, I want to know more than just the national news or the statewide news. And so when you're able to do that, it's just all starts to click. And so then now I look up and I've got venture capitalists and developers and owners of sports teams and like wild amount of people reaching out to get on the podcast. And it's not something that I set out to do, but super glad we're here.
And I just say this because we have a lot of people in the group. We've got a lot of people on the call that are growing an audience. Like it's hitting with the audience. They're doing local news stuff that is getting shares and they're getting millions of views a month. And that's great. And I think sometimes there's two pieces. One, we look at the amount of views and exposure compared to the amount of inbound leads we're getting, and we're not happy with it.
Yeah.
And then two, we kind of start to get a little burned out because we're just churning out content that's getting a bunch of views, but we don't feel like we're really doing anything. And so my question that I will pose for the group is like, is who your content for really resonating through the content that you're making? Like if I go to Rick Gonzalez's Instagram page, like I get that he's telling me all the local news stuff, but who is it for? Like, is it for your audience? Is it supporting your market? Yeah, just my favorite thing to watch about your journey.
Yeah, I think from the lead standpoint, I think there's a lot of people that have got onto this news thing as like a great way to get hyper local famous, if you will. Like I'm famous in a very small niche, right? Like I'm not, and that's great. And so how do you turn those into? I think there's a couple things. One is the funnel of getting them into some sort of newsletter where you can have more call to actions. So for us, if you look at any of our bios, it's going to give you a sign up for our newsletter, and then also, we've been posting, if you've been following along on our Orlando Real side on the Instagram where we've got the biggest following, we put up like a home of the day every single day. And we've been getting leads every single day. And so it was taking this like very broad, hey, we know you live in Orlando or you care about Orlando. Now let's take it into real estate. And it's just sponsored by Pozek Group. That's been really helpful. And then people are now pushing over. I mean, we started our Pozek Group Instagram maybe a year ago. We're about to hit 10,000 subs and it's 1000% just real estate. And we're getting leads, 20, 30, 40 leads a month from there, just that one account. So it works, but I think it's, again, let me share a ton of information about my city, why it works, why we love it. And then how do I drive them back into leads? And like, that's something we're continually refining.
What was the first thing you implemented? So I agree, when somebody stumbles upon you and they would like to maybe go deeper, they would like to maybe get more. A lot of times we don't have a great place to direct them. And if you were just getting started, I'm just picking on Rick because he's here, and you have a local channel, like what are the first things you think you do as far as creating some of those avenues for people to go deeper?
I think first and foremost is collecting emails and names and as much information as you can. So now even like on our website, when you go to click on our contact form, it'll ask you, how did you first hear about us? Because we have so many things out there. But I want to know, like, how did these people get in our world? And so that was step number one. But then you're building this list because you don't know when people are going to interact and buy or sell. And so that's why I do think the newsletter piece is almost just as important as anything else. Like, so if you're going to do YouTube, I would almost say don't go Instagram, TikTok right away. Go newsletter next, because you need to nurture these people one way or the other. I don't want to get millions of people that see me once and never again. I'm trying to get a ton of, like, I would rather have 1,000 people that see me 1,000,000 times. And so try to get them off platform one way or the other, then continue to provide value with them one way or the other, and then build out from there.
So drop a 1 in the chat if you feel like you're doing a good job of getting people's information after you've built the audience, and drop a 2 in the chat if you feel like that's a place you really need to work on, is getting more people's. Okay, lots of 2s and a 7 because Katie can't follow the rules, and an 8. All right, fantastic. Well, that's good. Look, we have, I mean, a little bit our fault, Ken. Like, we've spent so much time on trying to crack the code and help people grow an audience that we probably don't spend enough time on. Katie's like, what are you talking about? We spent a ton of time on converting and making sure people have places to go to actually convert into business.
Katie has something to say.
Always. No.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Katie from the coffee shop is speechless.
Yeah. It is interesting. I think we're looking at one of the things that I hired a director of operations last year, and he's been diving into leads and how long, this is the amazing number that I'm obsessing over now, is lead coming in to lead going under contract. That number, for one, it's way longer than I thought it was going to be, but like, how do I get them either that number moving closer to, or just being situationally aware? But for us, on average, it's like 162 days or so from lead coming in to going under contract. Most agents, they come in, if they don't transact in a week or two, I'm on to the next lead. I'm on to the next video. I'm on to the next whatever. How often are you actually, we just converted somebody that came in 600 something days ago. And that I'm super proud of, because I feel like our ecosystem's working. We had another one, we booked a listing appointment, got a message this morning that we got it. It was like $900,000. We could track them through our system to see they came in from YouTube. We reached out 7 or 8 times. They didn't ever respond. Then they got our newsletter. Then they came back and got their home valuation. Then they came back through an agent reached out to them, but they weren't ready. And it was just like all of these different conversations that happened over 2 years to have them finally transact. I don't think enough people slow down to fix the funnel. They're just like, how do I get better at video? How do I do more video? How do I do more reach? And like reach is great. It's important, but if you're not taking care of the people that actually come in, none of that matters.
I love that from a management standpoint because then it's like that you can coach around that and improve upon that, right? And know that if you have more follow up faster, then maybe it converts faster, maybe it doesn't, but like you can work through that.
Yep.
Let's talk about the newsletter. And so like you mentioned, and I don't think people realize this, if you guys go to the Orlando Reel on Instagram and you look at the videos, three-fourths, two-thirds ish through the video, it's like sponsored by the Pozek group on every single one of their videos, right? And so they're putting that in front of people, right? But on the back half of the video, right? It's not like immediately like, hey, it's sponsored by the Pozek group, right? So that's one. I don't like you mentioned it, but I don't know if everyone caught that. And then two, let's talk about the emails and kind of how those convert.
Yeah, so I think so. Yeah, you're right. Short form, literally everywhere. Our blogs, everything is sponsored by Pozek Group, and so like the Orlando Magic, we've got a partnership with them, sponsored by Pozek Group, and so really it was just like the Orlando Reel in our mind was a media company, the same way CNN or Fox News or our local Fox affiliate is a media company, and so but they run ads for roofers and injury lawyers and all the other stuff. And ours just happens to be only Pozek Group. And so we're able to get in front of people that way. But yeah, and then from there, it comes into we have two different CRMs. One is Constant Contact, which they're fine. I've got like a love-hate relationship with them. We got 54,000 people now on the email newsletter that gets the email newsletter twice a week. And then we have our CRM, which we use REW, Real Estate Webmasters. Again, love-hate relationship with them. They're fine. But basically, everybody makes it into REW first and then gets ported over into Constant Contact, lead or otherwise. Or we're having a fair enough amount of people, a couple hundred a month, that are signing up for our newsletter just to get the newsletter. So we're treating them both equally in terms of follow up, but we want to follow up with them the way that they want to be followed up with. So if you just want news in your inbox, great. Let me get a little bit more information so that I can segment you into the kind of news you care about. And then if you are saying, hey, I think I might buy a house in the next year or two, then we send them back over to the real estate team to get converted.
What goes into the newsletter that you think is effective?
You know, early on, I think it's as simple as possible. You could share your newsletter or share your YouTube video from that week. Hey, I'm not sure if you saw it. If you looked back on our analytics, I closed it out already, but if you look back on our analytics, 190 people or so came directly from a link, which means they got it from my newsletter. So not a ton of the 13,000 views, 190 watched it. But if that's all you had and you're just starting out, you'd be stoked. And so we originally just all we did was share our YouTube video 24 hours after it posted so people could watch. And then it became, let me share some other things going on. I was sharing external articles. It was new developments coming. It was, hey, don't forget to, tax days coming up for Homestead. It was just a little bit of like, if I could figure out a way to make it feel like Orlando and real estate-ish together, they all went in there. Fast forward to today, I've got a staff writer who puts out 5 blogs a week. He used to work for the Orlando Business Journal. Now he like does deep dives for us on all types of stuff. And so it's like an actual, like something you would actually pay for, but it's free. And again, the sponsor is just the Pozek Group. So yeah, that's what that looks like.
What's a bad newsletter look like? Where do you think agents miss, or maybe where have you missed in the past?
I think putting too many photos hurts with deliverability. I think not having a clear CTA is a problem. Go sign up for, here's the thing, like go sign up for your local business journal, your local Sentinel, your local big news thing, and look at their emails that they create. They spend millions of dollars to make great email. And so like go sign up for Morning Brew, go sign up for a lot of these, and you can very clearly see that it's mostly like title, link, not a ton of photos. We have one for our thumbnail on our video, but everything else is title, link, title, link. And that allows us to get great deliverability, but also better click-through rate.
Let's talk, not for me in particular, not that I'm thinking about it, but relocation leads in particular. What do you do to kind of elevate that process in up conversion and do more relocation business?
Um, I mean, so for us, it's trying to get them to jump on a 15-minute Zoom. It's just like my we're trying to figure out where are they at in the funnel. If they're 2, 3, 4 years in the future, let's just jump on a phone call. What questions do you have right now? This early in your journey, what questions do you have? And then we encourage them like, hey, you might want to come here and rent for a while. You might want to come here, visit a few times and buy. There's a lot of different things that we would suggest based on, how committed you are to actually relocating. And so we have a whole kind of format depending on where they're at in the stage of the process. Like I tell my agents, if they're 2, 3, 4 years in the future, don't automatically take that as Bible either, because they might say we're a couple years out, which means a year out. And if they're buying new construction, they need to buy in 3 months.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. And then you got the Tim Macy's of the world who keep telling you they eventually want to buy something and never do. And like you can't spend too much time on them either because we're just tire kicking. And I got to assume with your type of content, you get so many people that want to move that you probably have a good amount of tire kickers in the CRM.
Totally. Yeah.
And so having a good process there is probably needed to manage all that.
Yep.
You built this thing on YouTube, like amazing foundation to a really awesome team. What other platform are you most excited about?
It's actually going back to what Katie first talked about was the lives. So so we're gonna take our podcast on the road around Orlando, and I'm actually gonna take it outside of the studio. So we're building a new studio for me to do talking head stuff in and that kind of thing. And I'll bring in some people, but we're gonna start going to like new restaurants, new coffee shops, new bars, new restaurants, new developments, new whatever I can get out in the community and hopefully just invite people out. And so maybe I don't have to pay for a brewery event. I can just do these pop-ups and people can come hang out. And I've got this idea where I'm going to put, some cameras behind me and then also in front of me. And then we're going to do kind of like they can walk up and ask a question or interact with us. I have this idea that yes, it might be a little bit larger lift in terms of time. But if I'm personally trying to get out of production so I can focus more on this kind of stuff. But I have this idea that if I could get into the community more, get people on camera, it would be fire for reels, for engagement, for leads, for back to the idea of we're trying to build community. So we're going to kick that off in April. We've got our first 2 events already scheduled. I'm stoked about it.
Yeah, I think in a market like yours, I think more people want to have a voice and probably don't have a place they feel comfortable having that voice. And so, yeah, there's definitely some magic to be had there.
Yeah.
I'm excited for it. It's going to be fun. This though is where things can get inspiring, but also feel like they're very far away because all the things that you're talking about sound amazing. And so they also seem a little far off, though. Getting out of production, being able to put on essentially Orlando town hall once a month with a bunch of people, like awesome goals. If somebody want to take the first steps toward that and they're already making content, they have a YouTube channel, they have an Instagram, they're like getting some stuff going, they're doing a couple leads a month from their, channel. They got enough traction where they know they have something and they're looking to go a little bit deeper, go a little bit more on that Pozek path. What would you say a first or second step that comes to mind is?
Oh man. I mean, most people, it just comes down to consistency. Like they want to try this out and don't like really get deep in here. But even to take it a step further back, if I could, Steve got a really good question. He said, Ken's mentioned started hijacked here, but Katie's not talking anyway. So the other June 28th, we'll talk. Ken has mentioned the media company and also referenced building a studio. For those of us that don't have those resources, what would be one thing you'd suggest to get started? For us minions is what he says, but when you're just getting started anyways. I started in this room with a crappier camera than this for sure. And I think I had like 2 posters back there and that was it. A couple years before that, Josh Rogers, who I saw on the call, handsome fella right there, he told me just grab my cell phone and get out and start shooting in model homes. And I did that for years. So like, you don't have to have a studio, you don't have to have a media company, you don't have any of this stuff. It's like get started and then stay consistent and then understand that your original videos are going to suck. And that's okay because like only you and your mom are going to be watching them. And then after that, like you'll eventually get more views. And so stay consistent along the path. But hopefully that makes sense, Steve.
Love it.
Cool.
Katie in the coffee shop, you're awfully quiet, you know? Nothing? Okay.
Uh, Gagant.
Gagan.
Gagant H. What's up? He says, we're going to do a
What's
live
up?
show right now. So Gagant, you said, when starting out, if you could have done something different or sooner, what would that be? I would have hired an editor first. I like, or as soon as possible. I did them all myself on iMovie. I used Epidemic Sound for royalty-free music, and my videos were trash. But the moment I like hired an editor, everything got better because now I could just focus on ideation, getting out in the field, doing more stuff. And so focusing on what you're good at, which is probably real estate, and then this content thing on the side. And then, as soon as you can, then hire a videographer and sort of lead with revenue along the way. That's what I would do. And I wish I did even sooner.
And Ken, you've built the system, you've got all people working for you, all the things. What are the places that you always still keep your hands in? Like, what are the things that you don't let go of?
My main channel is almost all me in terms of like coming up with the content. I have some people that throw ideas at me on the team, but from like the video that we're going to shoot that week and preparing for the live, the great majority of that's still me. My marketing manager does like, she has got a running doc of like things going on in Orlando that I might want to talk about that maybe I haven't had my eyeballs on, but I still like love this idea of being able to control my brand through that. So
So,
everything else is pretty much leveraged out.
how much you lean on AI for different ideas, and what do you talk to ChatGPT or Gemini or your LLM of choice about?
Yeah, going back to Katie's idea or question around how many do you need to have go live? It's 50 from the mobile, by the way, and 0 subscribers. You can have a brand new channel and go live on your computer. So that's something I asked Chat. But I usually use it as a thinking partner a bit and just sort of like, hey, I've got this idea for this video. It's going to be intro, these 4 points that I've already come up with a sponsorship, and I pay for the chat that like remembers me. Like I've got an actual the pro version. And so I'm like, based on everything you know about me, what are some things that I'm missing for this video? And it'll usually spit out 2 or 3 or 4 other ideas that I haven't thought about, of which I might use 1 or 2. And so I'm trying to think about it through that way. I will also use it for like titles and stuff. And I'll say, hey, here's the title. Here's what the video is about. Here's the titles I'm thinking of. Come up with 55 characters or less, because that's how many you can see on mobile with YouTube. 55 characters or less. What are some other versions of this that I can use? And actually, that's where I got moving to Orlando. Here's where people buy. I got that title from that conversation with Chat.
Yeah, the 55 characters or less is also the nugget in there. Any resolution issues on StreamYard? As Armando was asking.
No, I mean, if you're on Wi-Fi, yes, especially if you're trying to share a second screen, you better have a decent computer. It's really more a RAM issue on your computer being able to run that much video. And then as long as you're like, if you can plug in with an Ethernet, that'll solve pretty much everything. I do know that, like I said, that we save the audio and the video on StreamYard and my editor uses that. He does for the podcast, but I also will record in body here and then upload the actual like 4K version.
So you're recording locally, full resolution.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Nice. Are you running ads? Like, what paid marketing are you doing?
We do Google listing, GLA. Yeah, GLA. We spend maybe $2,500 a month there. We also have almost 1,900 5-star reviews, so I want to make sure that they get seen. We do direct mail, believe it or not, and I wish I had one of my postcards laying around here. I do have this at the office. And we'll put on the front our YouTube video about that area to kick off the farm. And it'll be like, hey, get to know your neighborhood, or like, hey, we just launched this video. Here's a QR code. So that they can watch that. And then so for us, like I think cracked the code on farming, and I'm excited to scale this up to like 100,000 houses. We're at 24,000 right now over the past 6 months, and we're going to be scaling up pretty quick. But it's kind of this idea of, if I can be in the community, do a YouTube video on it, do a blog on it, do short form, did I say YouTube? And then the direct mail. And then also now we have a couple billboards. If I can do all of that, it's going to be impossible for them to escape me. So some of the old school stuff you still have to pay for. And it actually is the most expensive thing that we do in regards to marketing.
I love it. I love the direct mail piece. Oh God, Ken, you do not have to engage, but Josh Rogers has raised his hand.
My friend,
We want
what's
to
up?
give the man a moment.
Hey, man, congrats on Mr. Board of Director. Wow.
Hey, thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Totally awesome. Hey, I'm curious, when it comes time to shoot the weekly videos, I come up with all the excuses. What were like maybe those initial mechanisms that you put in place to hold your feet to the fire to stay consistent with weekly videos, other than just sheer discipline?
Yeah, I think it was literally putting it on my calendar. Hiring somebody actually made me super consistent because as soon as I knew I had to show up, I'm like, well, if I'm going to show up and pay this person, it better be a darn good video. And so I put even on Wednesdays, I still have this time block set up. It's used to be longer, now it's shorter because I feel like I can get it out faster. But it's an hour, and it's like, hey, I need to plan tomorrow's video. And then my videographer is hounding me, hey, I don't see the outline for tomorrow. And so it's sort of just that built-in accountability early on. Man, if you don't have that person, then it's like, as you know, like when you're doing it on running and gunning, everything is an excuse. And I just remembered somebody was talking about content marketing. It felt like it was kind of priming the pump. And you don't know if this video is going to be the one that converts somebody or not. But if you've been building on it for so often and you blank for weeks on weeks, yes, leads will come in, but eventually your channel starts to die. And so like I've just kind of become obsessed, realizing that like content is the thing. It makes everything else easier or unnecessary in my world. Recruiting, leads, listing appointments, buyer appointments, everything's better. And so putting it on my calendar and then having somebody that I have to pay. I pay him whether I show up or not. I actually did that early on, dude. I remember the first guy that I hired that was like contract. I said, hey, give me a better deal and I will guarantee you 50 videos a year. I'll pay you every week. I think it was via Venmo or Zelle at the time. I was like, I'm going to pay you every single week, regardless if I do a video or not. So I'm going to show up. And so he gave me a lower price for the consistency. So that's what kept me going.
Great, thanks.
I saw a look back when you mentioned direct mail. Do you have one of your postcards in the office?
I have one, but it doesn't have. This isn't the one with content. It's like week 7 or something like that of this one.
Cool.
But yeah, I work for you now, Josh. I mean, I'm officially under your employ.
Yeah, Josh is actually going to be sending you over a list of requests here.
That's right. I
After the call.
understand.
McKen, how has your beard affected your YouTube channel?
It's skyrocketed the views, man.
Just a little bit of
My
facial
wife
hair
likes
will
it.
do that.
That's why it sticks around.
Well, that's why everything sticks
sorry.
around. Oh,
That's right. Nope, I'm here. I'm still here.
okay, cool. What are you doing next that's exciting for you?
I mean, just kind of the live events, scaling,
Yep.
farming. I'm hiring a COO right now, trying to get again out of production personally, to focus on some of this stuff. But we got some pretty big goals for this year. Some cool hires that we're going to make from like a marketing standpoint, that again tie into the real estate company and the media company. But yeah, just more visibility. That's kind of the goal. See if we can hit a $500 million this year. That's the goal. In terms of sales, $500 million. And so far we're on track.
And I just love one couple of things. The fact that you're hammering direct mail, all these things amplify each other. A lot of us, I think, want to build an audience on social because it's easier to build one through content than it is in person. But so much of the magic happens when you take your social presence and allow it to go do in-person events. And direct mail is cool, but like direct mail gets amplified by the content. And you've seemed like you've done this great job of making these things work together to be force multipliers in your marketing. So it's fun to get a little peek behind the curtain with that comes. But Kate, you got your hand up. What's going on?
I just want to make sure that you didn't miss me. And also the billboards. How many subscribers do you have on YouTube? And then since this is being recorded, how many subscribers does Brad McCallum have?
I have 65,286 as of right now, and I think we should all just go look. Let's see. Brad has 52,000.
Oh,
Oh,
so the gap is widening. He's
Yeah.
pulling
Yeah.
away.
All it takes is consistency, Brad. Just let me know if you need help.
he's not
On
here.
his,
He's not
on
here.
his,
No,
yeah,
I
he's in the
know.
Galapagos. On his way to 100K is Ken Pozek. And then
Yeah.
the billboard, man. Like, how's the billboard been?
Good. I mean, it's one of those things that again, people tag me or they'll shoot a picture like while they're coming through. We hear about it all the time, but nobody's reached out directly because of a billboard. Although that one that I told you that we converted, that was like a 600 day. He specifically mentioned it to my agent who went on the listing appointment. He's like, we actually drive by that billboard every single day, and I was like, man, we have to reach out to these guys. But like, it was the force multiplier effect. It's the U.S. Military by land, air, and sea. Or I guess any military by land, air, and sea. That's the way that we think about it. So our new website that we launched actually later this week, the contact form will now say like, how did you hear about us first? So we can start doing attribution, which I think again is hopefully help us put our dollars in the right place.
So the other piece that I think anybody gets when they listen to you talk is that you are the ultimate blend of the great creative artist that knows how to make this content that attracts people, but also the systems operation minded person as well, which is fun because a lot of times we get a Brad McCallum on who's like very artistic, visual, everything. So for you to bring both those pieces together is always super impressive. But of all the things you've done and what you're going to do with these, I'm calling them like town halls with these pop-up events you're doing where people can come up and talk.
Yeah.
So that's the vibe I'm getting.
Yeah.
But of all the things you've done, my favorite piece of all is the airport carpet walk. and I just say that because if you don't know, the Orlando airport has very unique carpet. And so, Ken, I'm assuming you were just like getting on the airport one day and you're like, oh, I love this carpet, right?
I kept coming home thinking like, oh, this is the first thing. Like when I get here, it's like, oh, I feel like I'm home because of the carpet. And I would shoot a picture on Instagram. And now at least 3 or 4 times a day, somebody will tag me on their carpet walk. I'm in negotiations to buy a certain handle that's all about the carpet. And I think like it's so stupid, but I think it's a good play because it's part of the brand. And like they get 20 to 30 tags a day. And so I'm like, there might be something here. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, no, like this is amazing. One, when somebody comes home, they think of Ken, right? They are literally like the amount of community you're building that every time somebody goes to the airport, like they take a picture of the carpet and they tag you is amazing. And I think that we should all be looking for those little sidebars that people buy into with our community. Like we have to be looking to get people to, and you never know what it's going to be, but the more you're putting those little moments out there, the more you're giving people opportunity to connect with you like that.
Yeah, man, for sure.
I mean, I get annoyed when we fly to the new terminal that doesn't have the carpet.
That is going to be, I talked to the person who, you guys don't care about carpet as much, but like, hopefully they don't get rid of the carpet. I'll leave it at that.
Hopefully that doesn't make me sound, that doesn't excite me. That worries me. All right. Anything else you want to drop the group with here in our last 2 minutes?
I'm going to go back in the comments if that's okay. Because
let's do it.
We talked about a live show and I feel like this is my favorite thing to do. So John asks, hey, Ken, would Ken change his content if you lived in a city that was smaller, not as large, no sports team, no massive multi-million dollars ongoing projects? And I would say, John, there's still always stuff to talk about. Like, when I lived in Detroit, by the way, I did obsess over similar stuff, although I didn't ever create content on it. I would go to the HOA meetings. I would go to the city town hall and listen to what they do. Now you can just do it online. They do replays on YouTube pretty much everywhere. But there's crazy stuff happening all the time with whether it's HOA changes or state law changes or county level changes or investments in roads or new coffee shops opening. And people care about that. Like there's way more engagement on that kind of stuff on a hyper local level than there ever is on like a national level. I mean, yes, you have a bigger audience because there's 300 million people that care about that one thing potentially. But from you, in terms of leads, which is what we're here for, that localized content, I've got friends of mine in North Virginia. There's like nothing there other than data centers and horses, and they crush. I've got a friend of mine in Kansas City. Kansas City's not the sexiest thing. Yes, they've got the Chiefs, but like other than that, really not much. And yet like he's crushing. And so I would say that even in those smaller markets, you can be the mayor and do really well.
Yeah, no, I think it's easier to be a little bit be a little bit more like the mayor in those smaller markets. And then there's like less coverage of this stuff. And so
yeah,
like one of our agents got a ton of engagement on a gas station that they're putting in her small market. Why? Because gas stations don't go in much and nobody's talking about it, yet everybody cares about it. And so what are the things in your small market that isn't getting coverage from other news sources, but that people in your area really care about and nobody's talking about?
You got it.
Ken, when you went to answer the comment and I just got to hear YouTube live Ken Pozek voice, like that was great. Is there any other comments you want to hit?
Yeah, but we're at 2:00, so
We're at 2:00. All right. Well, thanks for hopping on.
2.0.
And yeah, man. Any chance for April? Are you a maybe for April?
I'm like a 80%. I just got to move around one thing and I'll be there.
Woo! All right. KP's at 80% for REVB in April. I love it.
All right, homie. Talk soon.
We'll see ya.
Thanks, Katie.